What's up to the final week of Nothing But Facts live stream for the year of 2022. It's been a blessed year and it's really been our first year, right? I mean, when did we start this? We started I believe...
Summer, I think. Oh, no,
January?
No. Last semester while I was in school.
Yeah.
Spring semester I was doing it.
Yeah, so we acquired this building, we did this whole studio, and this is the end of our first calendar year. And we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then we're off for a solid 9 days until we get back in the early days of January, because we're going for Umrah for Youth. One of our programs is Umrah for Youth. To me, it's one of the best programs, one of the most important programs. And it's our first one. It's a pilot program. We're running 4 pilot programs simultaneously. I mean, this podcast itself is we're experimenting and learning as we go. The Soup Kitchen just finished its first pilot year, and Dar al-Fath is in its first pilot year. So, mashallah, just with that, we came out of COVID, and Allah has given us the chance to earn some good deeds. Hopefully, we can earn our forgiveness from our mistakes and our bad deeds because of that, and it'd be a purification for us and for everybody who's involved. What else are we going to do with our time? Now, part of when we have a lot of work in the deen, it's very important to balance that out. It's very, very important to balance out work with some unwinding, and that's what we did yesterday at our children's program. Our farm system starts when you're in first grade. You can come into a program called Safina Sadi Next Gen, where we teach you the awrad, and we teach these kids some basic adab, and we teach them some basic fiqh. They learn the ratib, the 99 names. They do that every week. And then they learn basic tahara and salah. They learn how to recite the Quran, and they learn stories of the prophets. And last week we had a lot of parents asking if the game was going to be broadcast, so we ended up coming up with a conclusion where we're going to broadcast half the game, second half. And we all went to the gym, and that's where we are today on the day after what looked to be just a run-of-the-mill, boring 2-0 victory for Argentina, and turned out to be the game of the ages. In our life in dawah and ibadah, there has to be a time for a little bit of unwinding, and I know many American shuyukh who do agree with me on that, and who do engage in that, and they're people who I view them to be superior to me, so I take examples from them, and they're my hujjah. So it turned out to be really the game of the ages, in which really you never know what's going to happen, because off the bat I said this is a waste of time. It's going to be an Argentina party the whole way through, and no way Messi is giving up a 2-goal lead, right? But the point of the game is that it's long, right? And moods change in the middle of a game. And this one dragged on, and 10 minutes of a lead, 20 minutes of a lead, 30 minutes of a lead. They had a 2-goal lead from like the 32nd minute. And now we're about to enter the 80th minute, and that's when everything changed. And became one of those events where it's like, wow, I'm actually glad that I saw it. And around the 90th minute mark, that's when our gym started to fill up with some of the dhuhr musallis who came in before and after dhuhr to watch the game as we broadcast it on overhead on the wall. And it was, without a doubt, the best game. And why do I think about that? Because Qatar took a lot of flack. And then they stood their ground. And what did Allah give them? The best World Cup final ever. Right? You can't separate these two things. There's no way. Even I had a youth tell me. A youth told me. They took a lot of hits to stand for their belief in Allah's rules. These are not our rules. These are Allah's rules. So we expect a reward back. We can expect a reward back from Him. And that reward came in where it mattered. It came in something. It's not like you're going to sacrifice this and you get your reward eons later in the Judgment Day or the gas prices go down. No, they got the reward in the matter itself that they sacrificed quite a bit, and they were mocked by Western journalists, which who cares about them anyway? Their country, their civilization's in big trouble. But nonetheless, they were mocked worldwide. They went off, gave Beckham $150 million to promote, which is just ridiculous. I mean, seriously, you have money to waste. You gave that guy who can. Do you ever hear him talk? Have you ever heard David Beckham talk?
Is he the short guy?
No. He's a British superstar and footballer from my generation. Okay, no. But
Oh no, I do. Yeah.
yeah, David Beckham. He's I mean, he was a great player, but you ever hear him talk? The guy is just a regular dude. I mean, he's a great player. He didn't even do anything for them. He refused because he didn't want to get involved in the LGBT stuff. But Qatar took a shot, and they took it hard. And what's the result? You got the greatest World Cup final game, literally, ever. Okay? Ever. By unanimous decision. Okay? Where this game was done, and the 79th minute, and within 90 seconds of playing time, this thing was tied up, and we had a whole new game. When they scored the PK, the first PK at 79th minute, I was like, okay, at least we got a game, right? At least we got something to see the rest of them. Maybe they'll have a push. They might hit a post. I didn't think they were going to tie it, but boom. This guy, and I'm just saying, just as an athlete, the guy is a beast, and he's the best. After Messi, he's the best in the world right now. What's his face? Mbappe. He is the best in the world. He played like such a champion, and he went in there, got that second goal, which was a beauty. And then in the extra time, Messi scores, and you're like, what a storybook ending this is. Like, this is his career. That's it. This is the finale. And he scores the ET goal, the game winner. And you're like, this is it. And there's finally like 90 seconds left on the clock for extra time to be over. And France has one more push. You know how hard it is to get a goal in soccer, right? It's not like hockey where you're only taking it up 1-2 passes, and within 3 seconds you're in the zone, throw it on net, make a mess, and the little puck might go in the net, right? Or basketball, boom, a lob, a shot, and it could go in. Or baseball where you're never against time, you're just against outs. Or football where you can have one throw at 6 points. It takes a lot. They end up getting a corner kick. And again, Mbappe, with his aggressiveness, causes a free kick, shot to the elbow, and a penalty kick, and he gets it. I just could not believe what I'm seeing. Everyone had the same reaction. So that was good. The difference ended up being the goalies. That's really the difference between the two teams. So the difference was that Lloris, which was the only true frog on the pitch, to be honest with you. The rest was the African Union. They should call the French migrants. Okay, that should be their team name instead of the Roosters or whatever they are, the Cocks or the Roosters or whatever. They're the migrants, right? It's this French African Union, and Lloris, the goalie, and he was the worst player on the field, to be honest with you. He lost it for them. He's the only true frog on the team, a true Frenchman on the team, and he was the one who was the weakest link, if we're going to be honest. The other guy, Martinez, he saved the game in extra time, where it was like a one-on-one. The French player didn't have much of a shot, but he got a leg on it, and the goalie made an amazing save. And then they go into the PKs, and the difference is the goalie. So that was the only difference between these two clubs. And Giroud played terrible. He got yanked. Griezmann didn't show up. He got yanked in the 40th minute. And on top of that, the French, they had to play with their road uniforms, which are terrible uniforms. All this like navy blue, like a uniform that had zero creativity in it, right? And it was not even a nice navy. Like the U.S. American Navy is a royal navy. It's nice. This was like someone just picked a hex code, right? You ever see the color palette? Someone just threw any blue and that's it. So they had a terrible uniform on. And if they had some white and red, maybe they'd get some fire and wouldn't have been down the whole game. But anyway, it was truly like one of those things where you're just like, all right, what's for the kids? Or you're going to watch it, or at least I'm watching with my family. It's one of those, but it turned out to be something that was quite a sight, and I'm happy for Qatar. And I don't care if they get any love from Western journalists. I mean, their opinion really means nothing. They just get a lot of noise. So that's our first segment, and just a comment that you had to comment on that because it was an amazing thing to see. Okay. There's a tweet that I want to read from a sister who I truly, honestly, don't know anything about. But her name is Believers Hub. I follow her Instagram page. I recommend you all to follow it because she says some serious things. Okay. Let's see what she says here. She says here that when women talk about fighting for their rights for feminism, she asks, are you fighting for the first, second, third, or fourth wave claims? Like, which one do you want? And she's saying that this is basically, as soon as feminists get the rights of the fourth wave, they will invent a fifth wave. Which brings up the question of, where does anything end? Like, where does anything end? Anything that has a moral claim really won't know where it's going to end. That's the point here. The point that I'm adding to this is the zoom out. Any claims, husband's rights, women's rights, men's rights, workers' rights, whatever rights, justice is always based on morality. If morality doesn't have a peg, where do you stop? Right? Where does this stop? That's the question, whether it's for feminism or otherwise, right? And she's got a lot of back and forth here and discussions. Okay. Somebody responds back. She says that it would be best to explain why the activism in this sort of thing typically involves a lot of toxic as well as impermissible behavior for us Muslims. Okay. They're not going to be convinced by any argument that feminism is bad. She replied back, great point. I see why this approach is useful. In the future posts, I will break these down. Okay, so where is it? There's no point in any ism for a Muslim to have to join any ism, because we are only going to support whatever our Sharia would support. And we're going to be against whatever our Sharia would be against. So there's no need for a Muslim to ever join any ism about morality or justice. Right? So someone says, "Oh, I'm a Muslim feminist." Okay, so which part of feminism are you going to adopt? And then they tell you, well, the parts that match with Islam. Well, then why don't you just call it Islam? Right? The Muslims' rights in Islam. Right? So, but that's the case for everything. Socialists, the same thing. I'm a Muslim socialist. Well, what do you support? Whatever in Islam that socialism matches with. Well, then why don't you just call it Islam? So we do not, Muslims should never join any ism. Now, you can take reminders and they could spark your, there's no problem in the idea that the Muslim, that they could spark your not imagination, but your awareness. That's the word. So feminism came and it sparked awareness that there are women's rights not being given to them. And then you go within Islam and look at these rights and say, hold on a second, it's my right to do this, that, and the other. Okay? It's my right to have that. And now you're going to bring it in a way that is appropriate to the Sharia. So you can't, when you look at a set of ideas, you're not just looking at the ideas, it's also the manner by which we express these ideas. Okay? And for a lot of the Muslim brothers, let's say, because I know that the immediate response is, hold on a second, let's look at the podcast bro type of guys. And they're not exactly using Islamic akhlaq either. Okay, two wrongs don't make a right, right? And deflecting one wrong, it doesn't change, what we're talking about. So if you want to talk about those guys, though, let's shift to that. So segment number 2 is over. Segment number 3. A lot of these guys, I have to say, some of these podcasters, Raya and I were talking about it the other day, and then Ryan at Dhikr Night, I was talking about with Kareem, Sheikh Murad, Sohaib, and I have a different take on a lot of these refutation videos. I believe these guys have revolutionized entertainment. Islamic entertainment has been revolutionized, whether they know it or not. Okay. What was it? It was at some point somebody had sent me a link and with a million smiley faces and laughing faces. And I got home and I was like, all right, no one's awake. I'm heating up my dinner. And I just clicked on it, which I always tell myself I'm never clicking on this garbage. Reaction to the reaction to the reaction of so-and-so who has now made a declaration. Ebu so-and-so, cartoon character with a Superman name, right? Wallahi al-Azim, cartoon characters who have reinvented Islamic entertainment. Because you go in with the guys that I'm not wasting time, I'm seeing what is right and wrong with the ummah. You click on the video, and it's a cartoon character, essentially, with a fake name, Ebu so-and-so. All right. Dawah man. Imagine if I go and we visit Tarim and visit Habib Omar and said, Habib, I am known now as Dhikr man. He's Salawat man, and we're all the Dhikr bros, right? But we now are moved by these names, right? He would look at, I think he would just be a blank.
Habib is Abu Khalwa.
Yeah, I mean, what? So you talk Habib Sayyid, our guy Habib Sayyid here. But I mean, it's cartoon characters. So you go in and you click on the video. You can't believe what you're hearing. Abu so-and-so has declared such and such, our former old Salafi friend, to be from the Khawarij. I have declared him to be from the Khawarij. Declaration. Are you a Secretary of State or something? Right? What declaration is this? Out of your apartment that you're leasing for $1,000, right? The camera is worth more than your rent. I'm a declaration as if he's a state. I mean, if ISIS made a declaration, I'd probably worry because they killed people in the past. But you, on a YouTube channel, he has declared, but, asterisk, I have not declared his blood to be haram. First of all, you should be taking Arabic classes. That's the first thing, okay? You have not declared his blood to be haram. His blood to be halal. Wait, what are you talking about? Are you the Department of Justice for the Khilafah? Are you the Secretary of Justice? Are you the Minister of Justice, the Chief Judge? Okay, so religiously he is from the Khawarij. What does that mean exactly? Should I unsubscribe to his page? What's the impact, right? What impact is that declaration going to have on real life? It's entertainment. They don't mean it to be entertainment, which makes it more entertaining, that people actually believe in this. And then, like Habib said, it's a rabbit hole that has no end. You click on it, and then all the other videos, reaction to the declaration, reaction that says my blood is halal. What is this blood is halal business, right?
Reaction to his non-reaction.
Yeah, reaction to his YouTube video, and then one guy, so-and-so. And this is first you thought all this lunacy is in England. It's reached America, right? Oh, so-and-so, you have just WhatsApped me, right? Don't pretend we don't talk. I WhatsApped you. You didn't reply to my WhatsApp, and here's a screenshot. And come right now and meet me. And let's face this like men. Wait a second. You're in England. The guy's in America. Is there an ocean between the two of you guys? What is this? Come and meet me and let's discuss this Khawarij. I'm telling you, I just couldn't stop laughing, right? And I had to just treat this as, because you justify, when you realize I just wasted 20, 30 minutes of my life, right? Yeah, I'm tired, I'm eating, and it's the end of the day, and I put this time, this is where I deflate my brain at the end of the day. But how do I justify this, right? And you start thinking, how do I justify what I just spent? It's entertainment, right? It has this has got nothing on this, nothing. And this is so-and-so's refutation, and then the reaction to his refutation, it doesn't end until the point that as you keep going down the YouTube algorithm, you realize that there's histories. These two used to be best buddies. Now they're against each other. And it's all because they went to the conference. And so, he said something about the Saudis. And he was defending the Saudis. What do you defend the Saudis for, right? He didn't do anything to you. For you? Oh, no. Because a guy in the United States who makes a comment that the Saudis did something haram, it may be feared that this might spark a revolution in Saudi Arabia with great social discord. And this revolution is Khawarijism and it's haram. What? Where are you getting that? There used to be an insurance commercial that was comedy, basically, that said something like, why you need to get the right insurance policy, why you need to buy our insurance policy. Because if you wake up and there's no coffee, right, you might be in a bad mood. If you're in a bad mood and you get behind the wheel and someone cuts you off, then you honk at them. Then you chase them down. And then you end up having a car chase. And then you crash. It's like, the absurd domino effect? That's the commercial. The comedy of the commercial is the absurd domino effect. That's what these people are saying. you in America, if you say that the Saudis did something haram, then you may be leading to great rebellion. What world? What world? So it's honestly a revolution. They honestly should get a award, and I'm suggesting the best Wahhabi reaction video award. I'm telling you, they should, every calendar year, we got to see who got the most likes. And these guys should get an award because they're entertaining us as Muslims, right? And if you're ever one of these people or you know somebody who watches this stuff, I got to just tell them, you can watch it, no problem. Let the guy make a buck. They're semi-employed anyway. Let them make $1 from YouTube and treat it as sadaqah of your time. And that's the cost of the entertainment. But view it as entertainment. Okay? Because it's the reaction video of the reaction now. And Harun showed me 3 reactions. No, you got to be kidding me, guys. You cannot possibly have a reaction of a reaction of a reaction. Oh my gosh. May Allah guide us in them. Right? And
I found something good on YouTube.
yeah. What did you find?
It's a pretty funny thing. Like, you know who Abu Toba is?
Another cartoon character.
He's like his teacher.
Which Abu Toba is
The one
this?
teaching Ajumiyya.
I love him.
I'm watching those videos.
Him I genuinely love. I don't
Yeah.
know what they say about him or if he's involved in this cartoon stuff, but I genuinely love that man.
It's entertainment.
If
It's
he,
good at grammar entertainment.
it's grammar entertainment. Him, I genuinely love this brother whose name is Abu Toba, and he is so genuine and sincere in my view. I don't know what his aqeedah, his beliefs are.
He jabs at Sufis super hard.
He jabs at Sufi super hard.
It's funny. In the
But
video.
you can't stop laughing even when he goes at the Sufis. He said, oh, they're Sufis. And I went to Egypt and I saw them rolling down the hills, right? Doing cartwheels and playing flutes, right? And having flags, waving the flags of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the Mawlid. And first thing I'm thinking, hold on a second. I've never seen an Egyptian do a cartwheel. That's the first thing. But secondly, is that haram? Right? Is it haram to do a cartwheel down the street? Even if someone, but the way he talks is so funny. And he went through a serious mihna and a tribulation that put him in jail for 4 years. And he came out of it, in my view, like a champion. He came out of it and he said, I need therapy. And I was like, oh, where are we going now? Where are we going? He said, and the therapy is the book of Allah. He went to Canada, he signed up for a Quran school, and he put himself down and recited the Quran for 4 years, learning different ahruf, and that was his therapy. I think that's what he said, 4 years. I love that man, Abu Toba. I don't know much about like his actual teachings, but I could tell you when I see him online, it's ikhlas. 100%. And he keeps it real like a New Yorker. Look who we have here. We got guests. Ammar. Brother of Ammar, also known as Abdullah. Is that right?
Yes.
You moved to Texas? You guys look like twins. As you grow older, you're looking like twins. All right, what's happening here? What's you up to? Ahmed Yusuf, Abdullah, son, brother of Ammar, and the original copy. Ammar, also known as finding Where's Waldo? The Muslim Where's Waldo? Folks, we got a guest here. He's the Muslim Where's Waldo. That's your mic. You just missed a segment on the reaction to the reaction to the reaction. Listen, every group has some weird things. The Sufis, you know what their books are? The mystical secrets of the secrets of the secrets, right? Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, and then by the way, you go to those books. Wow, what is the mystical secret of the secret of the secret? And you look, it's like making wudu properly. That's the secret, right? Okay, now, or the sheikh called me in, and we went into a cave, and the cave led to another cave, and then there was a man who was glowing, and he said, "Make wudu properly." Right? Right? Isn't that what it is?
That was a Morocco trip.
Yeah. Okay. Now and then our brothers on the other side, they don't have the secret to the secret, but they have the reaction video of the takfir of the reaction video of the declaration of kharijism from the reaction video of the reaction video who said his blood is halal. Wallahi al-azim, you guys in England, you are something else. Okay, you guys are something else. But it's spilled over here, right? And they're putting YouTube videos back and forth, challenging each other. Come and fight me. Come and meet me. And I'm like, what's come and meet you? Come on, there's an ocean between the two of you. It's so easy to write a YouTube video like that. Now, here's my thing. Like, when you go and you make a video like that to somebody, What happens when you see him at Hajj? You ever think about that? Yeah, it's so weird, right? So like here you are walking meet me at gate, going to the gates of the Kaaba, and that's the Haram, and they all meet at these different gates, and you see somebody who you have an online beef with. That's why it's not smart to have an online beef with another pious Muslim, right? Because you're gonna.
Sheikh Asrar Rashid does it.
How does he do it?
Because like, he will, if a scholar makes a mistake publicly, he'll post a video about it. But like, this guy, like Sheikh doesn't have a phone or like doesn't manage his account. So like, there's no back and forth because he just says something, and that he doesn't even upload the video himself or he doesn't. Manage
He's still
account.
removed.
Yeah, it's just the imam or something,
Who's there? Come on up. Who is that? Who wants to talk to us? Change the window.
This is the
Construction. All right, you change the window. Can he change the window after the thing, or can he make noise? Yeah, so just give us an hour. Give us 2 hours, actually. 2 hours, because we have intro to Maliki Fiqh after this. You can't cold call and change our windows. You can't cold call that, right? You can't just pop in. Sorry to say that. Are you here for the week?
I'm here until
What about
Friday
the
morning.
shuttle bus?
I'm here until Friday morning. So then Friday morning, hop on the shuttle bus and then
Did you sign up for the
via
shuttle bus
There's
so you can pay your ticket?
I have a plane ticket. That's all I have.
Go in the WhatsApp group, click on the button, and pay for your ticket, your shuttle bus ticket.
I need to get into the WhatsApp group.
You're not even in the WhatsApp group?
Inshallah, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's easy, alhamdulillah. Now listen, so that's segment 3. You guys missed that segment. Segment 1, we talked about recap of that epic, beyond epic. Qatar got a gift of that epic final, which there are never going to be a final like that again.
No.
No. And
certainly
Mbappe
not, yeah.
is already a legend. Forget his personal life, which is ridiculous, which is disgusting, actually. But forget that. Okay, you're such a champ, and that's what you're going for. I said, man, consult with me, please, when you're going to go do zina like that, right? So it's disgusting, what he's going. But on the pitch, the guy's a legend, and he's not even started his career, to be honest, right?
That's true. He's very young.
He's not even started. He's the Derek Jeter, the Tom Brady of football. He's born in the World Cup, right? Like Derek Jeter is born in the World Series.
Right.
First year, how many times did he miss the playoffs? Like 2-3 times? He missed the whole playoffs? This guy, Brady, same thing. Oh my gosh, Brady, what the heck is he doing? Go kidnap him and tell him for your own good. Kidnap this guy and don't let him play football anymore. It's just, it's like is he betting against his own team? How do you have 4 turnovers in 1 quarter? I didn't even watch the game.
He's good though.
He himself is good, but he's playing so bad.
I saw a game at this pizza shop I was at the other day, like a couple weeks ago, and
He ripped it up in Germany. He tore his opponent apart in Germany, but he stunk after that. And last week it was a disaster. So that's Mbappe. That's what he is, right? Secondly, our second thing was Believers Hub. We talked about her tweets. If you don't follow her Instagram, follow her Instagram. You will get a good set of critiques of a lot of the nonsense. And really, to be honest with you, it's stuff that a lot of guys want to say but can't. But she's a woman, so she could say it, right? Criticism of feminism. No, I support women's rights all the way, and we all have to talk that, but we have to hide inside of ourselves what we think is toxic and terrible. But she could say it, so that's it. So support her to be able to say that stuff. Third segment was about this entertainment of the refutation of the refutation of the refutation. And now we get to our fourth segment of the evening, of the podcast, of the episode. And that's a serious business now. So we're going to have to flick a switch and get serious about the subject that we're reading here. And that is that we're going to read a passage or two from the tafsir of the Quran, Tafsir al-Baghawi, Ma'alim al-Tanzil, which is really the best tafsir in my opinion, because it's both a summary, but you always learn something new. It's not too summarized like Suyuti's Jalalain. There's not a lot of meat on the bones in that tafsir. Or others that are so voluminous there's never a point to pick it up and look at it because it's too voluminous. You're not going to read anything. So this one is right in the middle. And he gives you everything. He gives you qira'at. He gives you lugha. He gives you rulings. He gives you ma'arif. He gives you spiritual insights. He gives you seerah. A little bit of everything. So, Surah al-Muddathir is Makkiyah. It's 56 ayah. It's 6 and 50 verses, 56 verses. أخبرنا عبد الواحد بن أحمد المليحي أخبرنا أحمد بن عبد الله النعيمي أخبرنا محمد بن يوسف حدثنا محمد بن إسماعيل حدثنا يحيى حدثنا وكيع عن علي بن المبارك عن يحيى ابن أبي كثير قال سألت أبا سلمة عن ابن عبد الرحمن عن أول ما نزل من القرآن. What was the first revelation of the Quran? He says, يا أيها المدثر. He said, now remember, this is early in Islam, so common knowledge is not all there, right? It's not like everybody knows everything. So he says, hold on, I heard the people saying the first revelation is اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. So Abu Salama said, I asked Jabir ibn Abdullah about that. Okay, so what we all take for granted as common knowledge was not common back then. Okay, وقلت له مثل الذي قلت, and I said what you said. So Jabir says, لا أحدثك. I am not telling you, Jabir ibn Abdullah, of course he's the companion. I'm not telling you about anything except what the Prophet ﷺ told me. قال جاورت بحراء شهرا إلا بما حدثنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال جاورت بحراء شهرا فلما قضيت جواري هبطت فنوديت فنظرت عن يميني فلم أرى شيئا ونظرت عن شمالي فلم أرى شيئا ونظرت أمامي فلم أرى شيئا. I was called. Someone said, Ya Muhammad. The Prophet looked around, did not see anything. Right, left, front, center. فرفعت رأسي. I lifted my head up. And فرأيت شيئا فأتيت خديجة فقلت دثروني وصبوا علي ماء بارد. I looked up and I saw something amazing. Clearly, it's Jibreel. So I ran to Khadija and I said, cover me up and put cold water on me. And then the verse was revealed, يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر وربك فكبر. So that is, we have three huffaz here. MashaAllah. I'm sitting with three huffaz. Let me get some of that barakah real quick. Boom. Some of that barakah real quick. Boom. There we go. Yeah. So that is the first narration. Of course, that's a narration. And what is the sound statement? The sound statement, of course, is that Surah Iqra. The first 5 verses of Surah Al-Alaq is the correct. It was the first revelation. Ya al-Muddathir came later. And Ya al-Muzammil came after. Those Qum al-Layl and Qum fa'andhir. And that's what gives us ilm, suluk, da'wah. The manhaj that we follow is knowledge, followed by ibadah, followed by da'wah, or spread it to others. Okay? And those were the first 3 revelations. Iqra represents seeking knowledge. Qum al-Layl, get up at night and pray. It represents spiritual development. Purify yourself and worship Allah. Sanctify your nafs, meaning remove all of its flaws and add in it all the virtues. You do that through ibadah and drawing near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then qum fa'andhir, get up and warn people, which means give da'wah, be part of your community and bring them something good. Jabir ibn Abdullah said, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. All right, يحدث عن فترة الوحي. So that's the clarification. So that what the Jabir was talking about was the gap in the wahi. After Iqra. Then there was a long gap in the wahi. Then he saw Jibreel. And then he went down and he said, Zammiluni and Dathiruni. Okay. That's the correct narration. So يحدث عن فترة الوحي. That's the missing word. The fatra, fa, ta, ra, and ta marbuta is the gap in the revelation. And why was there a gap in the revelation? Well, number one, it's actually to prove to the messenger that it's not something he created with his own mind. Because some people might think that. Like, if you spend a lot of time in a cave alone, and then you see something amazing, you might attribute that to all my time spent alone. I'm spending all this time alone. I created it without realizing it in my mind. Right? And not to say that the Prophet ever thought that, but someone might think that. A critic say, yeah, you go spend that much time, you're going to hallucinate. And what you really want, you'll start seeing it as a hallucination. Well, if that's the case, then he should be able to recreate it. right? And he spent more time alone waiting for the revelation, didn't come. So that's actually a proof that it wasn't from him. It's not something that you could recreate, to the point that he was so upset that he thought maybe he did something wrong. Okay? And they were made fun of him. They said, your jinn? Where's your shaitan? Inna shaytanaka qad qalak. Your shaitan had left you. He's abandoned you. He hates you. That's why Surah Al-Duha came down as a revelation to show that Ma wadda'aka rabbuka wa ma qala. Your Lord has not abandoned you, nor does he hate you. They said, Muhammad stopped getting these revelations. His God abandoned him and hates him. Yeah, so that's why Surah Al-Duha came down. So there are many fatrats of wahi. This was the big one. The other fatra of wahi was regarding the cave, or the 3 questions that were asked, and then Surah Al-Kahf came down after 15 days. They made fun of him in that. They said, you can't live up to the challenge. Okay. Then the 3rd fatra was the fatra of Surah An-Nur, in which Sayyidah Aisha was accused, and the Prophet's family was basically accused of all these fahisha, and it was a great scandal. That was 1 month. Right? And what made her innocent? The Quran made her innocent. It's not like some witness came and said, no, she has an alibi. No, the Quran made her innocent. So if the Prophet is the author of the Quran, why would he wait for 30 days, right, to make her innocent? You make up the verse right then and there on the spot. So all of these fatarat are for the greater purpose of confirming to the Meccans, to the people, and giving them all a sense that this revelation is truly out of the Prophet's hands. It's not his. If he was, why cause pain to himself like this? Okay. يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر. أي أنذر كفار مكة. Warn the kuffar of Mecca. And that warning means nothing from a stranger. It only means something if your reputation is established. And the reputation of the Prophet ﷺ of truthfulness, and that he's someone of upright character that is worthy to be a leader. It's not just that you're rightful, truthful in yourself. You and your whole political societies are political by nature. So your tribe has to have the credibility to be the leaders. So the Prophet ﷺ's tribe was established, and his lineage was established by his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. Many people they just know, Abdul Muttalib, and he dug the well up. All right, that's a nice little story. It's not a nice little story. That was massive. And then the birds came. All right, another nice little story. No, it's not a nice story. That's what made Abdul Muttalib the legend of Quraysh before the Prophet was even conceived on the earth. Before the Prophet was born, alayhi salatu wassalam, his grandfather was already deemed the legend, the greatest chief that Quraysh has ever had, and he was unquestioned. Because of the well, he was unquestioned. Then the treasure came out of that. They didn't question him. Then Abraha came. By that time, he was already an unquestioned leader, whereas most leaders are not unquestioned. You're envied by others. They had put him at a level untouchable. He's the GOAT, right? Yeah. Like when your peers tell you that, then you're truly the GOAT, right? There's no debate on whether, when you're truly a GOAT, there's no debate. Otherwise, you're a debatable GOAT. But he was already no debate on him. He is chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many people don't know the story that they knew how to divide up a treasure. When they discover a treasure, they had rules. Quraysh had rules how to divide it up. They didn't have rules how to divide up a spring. So they had to go to an arbitrator. On the way to the arbitrator, they all got lost and they were all set to die. So they said, let's all dig our graves and just die. So we can die with respect. You just push the person in. When he dies, push him into his grave. So everyone dig your grave while you have any energy left. While they're digging their graves, Abdul Muttalib said, why would we die waiting to die? Why don't we die trying to live? Let's get up and just trying to live. It's more noble. They all said, yes, you're the chief. You're our chief. And you've said something wise again. So they all got up. And then as soon as his camel got up, another spring came forth. So they survived. So they said, while they're drinking, they said, hold on a second. We don't need arbitration. This was the arbitration, right? So you decide how to divide it up. And he said that we'll be the custodians of it, and another family will be the distributors. So that's how he divvied up the spring. So when they came back, they said, did you go for arbitration? He said, no, Allah arbitrated. and he sided with Abdul Muttalib. Our whole lives are to him. Okay, so he's already the legend of Quraysh. Then Abraha comes years later when he's already Shayba. He's already an old man with a gray beard, and he's the legend already. And another miracle happens because he's the one who makes the decision. Everyone leave. Just let him go. Capitulate. Let them all go and let Allah to protect his house. And it happened. If they had not listened to him, they would have been killed, because the pellets came all around that area, and because they listened to him, they survived. So when the Prophet ﷺ is now a child, this legend is putting the Prophet on his pillow and on his lap and announcing to everybody, he's going to have a great affair. This boy is going to have a great affair. So when the Prophet ﷺ lives now 40 years, to add to that his reputation is solid in terms of honesty, in terms of trustworthiness. Those are the two main things. And in terms of being moral, upright. Now you have no excuse. So on that backdrop, after all that, what we today call street cred, right? All that credibility, all that reputation, then he gives the warning to Quraysh. So I can't just walk up to New Brunswick. Oh people, I warn you, right? And you have to enter Islam. If they walk right by me, they have full right to do so. Whereas I wouldn't be able to come, let's say, to my own community where people know me and say something like that. You have to listen, right? So that's the concept and idea of qum fa'anzir, get up, warn your people, because you have the credibility. 2 lifetimes, the whole lifetime of Abdul Muttalib and the 40 years of the Prophet lived, 2 lifetimes back to back. So that father from son, a young man will say, well, who's this Muhammad? Oh, the father will say, oh, he's the grandson of Abdul Muttalib. Well, who's Abdul Muttalib? Well, we all know who he is. He is the legend, right? So there's no excuse to reject his warning. Okay. And that's the idea. So the first thing is that, now you ask yourself, why not get up and say, hey, Quraysh, I have a great reward for you? Because a great reward is something you could take or not take. That's why. It doesn't affect you. Someone says, hey, there's coupons here to give out to everybody. It's not something that is going to move me. I may want to cash it in. I may not. I may want a reward in the afterlife. I may not. But the Prophet ﷺ comes as, I'm warning you of eternal hellfire. It's a strong visual that you can't avoid. Right? You have to negotiate with this. You have to interact with this. You have to recognize it, because this is a problem. If I go and I tell everybody you have eternal paradise, okay, if I want it, I want it. If I don't want it, I don't want it. There's no fear here forcing me to do anything. But when you say there is a hellfire, it's force. Okay? And the meaning that the idea that Allah Ta'ala, He is not He does not desire as rida, it is not please Him to torture His creation. That's exactly why He's telling them the punishment. So if you're going in a road and the roadways, they don't want you falling into a hole. They put a sign up. Punishment, or a hole in the street 5 miles away, then 1 mile away, then 5,000 feet away, then 1,000 feet, then 500 feet. Cones now you start seeing. Because there's a hole, but they don't want you to fall. They want you to veer off away from that lane. Okay? That is how you should view the fire. He wants you to view off the lane of sinful behavior and wrong beliefs. So He's telling you well in advance and giving you so much time. Contrast that now with my enemy. If I dig a hole for my enemy, I don't tell him it's a hole. And in fact, I make it look like a normal road. So because I want him to fall into it. So Allah, la yarda li'ibadihi al-kufr. He's not pleased. He does not want in terms of being content with, being pleased with them being punished. That's why He's telling us of this punishment. You should feel grateful. The atheists will say, well, why did God create punishment in the first place? Because He knows human nature. You're not going to move without it. And you're given free will. Do you want free will or not? Like the comedian, he says, why do you pray to a God who didn't stop the Holocaust? You want Him to stop the Holocaust. That means you want Him to interfere, right? But then again, you want free will. So what is the difference between free will? We could do what we want. If it's free will, which we have, free will, that means you have to accept bad things are going to happen. Because I'm not the only one with free will. Hitler's going to have free will. Saddam Hussein's going to have free will. Donald Trump's going to have free will. Mother Teresa's going to have free will. Everyone's going to have free will. The good, bad, and the ugly. And my free will can create a worse monster, right? By abandoning my kids, getting kids out of wedlock, beating them when they're young, beating their mother in front of them, right? And you get a kid who's basically a monster. Most of these mass murderers have the same upbringing. So my free will produced another monster. So if we all want free will, you have to accept evil and don't get God involved. Now, on the other hand, if you want a perfect world, then you're ready to give up your free will, right? Okay, God, if I'm doing something wrong, interfere with me right now. So what is the reality? It's something in the middle, where Allah Ta'ala gives you free will, but He gives you a guidebook so that you willingly can follow. Okay? You can willingly. So you're not left all with misguidance. You're given a guidebook. Use your free will in this manner. Avoid this. That's the middle ground between free will and God interfering with your life, which you don't want anyone interfering with your life, but you want free will. But when you have free will, you complain about all these bad things happening. It doesn't work like this. You don't get it both ways. So the middle way is you have free will, but you also have a message. Okay? And that message tells you what to do and what not to do. Now it's up to you. If you don't do it, okay, that's your fault. You ignored the message. That's how it works.
The submission there is like the greatest act, like the way you actually achieve greatness is through submission, right? And that's what the atheist doesn't understand. It's like God has interfered, and He's given you the path towards like the greatest life that you can imagine.
And on top of that, by giving you the choice, He's given you the credit. That's the name of Allah, Al-Hamid, right? Yeah. Because if no bad things happened in my life, I'm the boss and everything is perfect in my company. Why would I get credit if it's the government coming in and saying, no, do this, don't do that, then why should I get any credit? But at least I get the image of credit, and that's the name of Allah, Al-Hamid. He praises you. Praises you for doing something that He told you to do.
And He thanks you.
Right? Yes, and He rewards you. Right? Ash-Shakur, which means his thanks is His reward. Right? He rewards you for it. So that submission is something everyone does. People don't like submission. Why do you want a God that has submission? All right, go on the street and let nobody submit to the traffic laws. We call that Bombay, right? And Cairo. Go to Bombay, go to Cairo, and there are memes for this, where it's like a simple four lanes this way, 4 lanes that way. No one's following any rules. Everyone's U-turning whenever they want, left turning whenever they want. You don't like that, you make fun of it, and you make a meme out of it, because there's no submission. So we need law and order. Okay? Order is the beauty of everything. There's like eclipses everywhere now, right? And it's like just because we can calculate it. That's how much order there is. Way out there in space where these things are spinning and rotating and revolving at speeds you can't even calculate. You can't even imagine the speed. But yet we're able to calculate exactly when the Earth is going to pass across the moon's orbit and the sun's orbit. And you could know, okay, right here in Argentina, there's going to be an eclipse on February 24th, 2025 at 11 p.m. Like, we can calculate it. Why? Order, right? Complete order. So the atheist arguments, the more you look at it, they are so fragile. They're so weak. That's why they're not addressed in the Quran, if you think about it. It's not even worth addressing. There's no such word as atheist in the Quran in the first place. It's just somebody who's just being stubborn and throwing out childish excuses. And then he says, وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. الثِّيَاب, فَطَهِّرْ, is physically and it's allegorically. It's طَهِّرْ ثِيَابَكَ أَوَّلًا مِنْ الشِّرْك, from shirk. And that is تطهير العقل, to purify your intellect from shirk. And if you want to see something funny, is New York Times put out an article about how invested the Argentinians were in getting Messi his championship and winning the World Cup, that they had a witch group, and they got together the night before to do hexes and to do all sorts of nonsense. And then the picture was hilarious. It's like an altar with candles, Virgin Mary, Jesus, Diego Maradona. What? How does this make it? I think you got the wrong Maradona. The Madonna is supposed to be Virgin Mary. All right. So, I mean, stuff that makes no sense. And it's just stuff that is complete. And by the way, they won, they're going to take credit, right? See, the thing is with this, it's the thing is that either way, if they won, they got credit. If they lose, they said we didn't do enough, right? So either way, they're going to have an outlet for that. But, and they said the same thing about Tom Brady. Oh, Giselle, she's with the witches, right? And she's withdrawn her powers. And I'm thinking, wait a second, they might be right, right? Okay, he's looking terrible, right? They said, the witches, they said, oh, Tom Brady's gonna have his worst year of his career because Giselle's a witch, but she's a white witch, so she's withdrawn all of her whatever magic that she was doing for him, and that's why interceptions were happening in the fourth quarter, and that's why come back from 28-3. It had nothing to do with Belichick working 24/7, right? It's the witches from Brazil that are helping Giselle bunch it. So these witches, it's all like, when you go that road, you're going a road of basically your life is by shooting darts and rolling dice. That's what leads to a terrible life. That's why gambling's forbidden. Using chance in real life, that's the problem. There's only one time where chance is allowed, is something in situations where you have to distribute something. Like, who's going to come with me on a trip? I got 2 tickets, but I have 5 kids. Right? What's the only fair way to do it? Is to roll to cast lots, lottery, right? And then the next time around, lottery again, and you're out of it because you already went once. Next trip, lottery again, and the second person comes, and then in the third time, he's out of it. So on and so forth. That's the only time that lottery is allowed for us. But chance, lottery, anything where human will and intellect is not involved. So if the good things of life are not by chance, they're by principles that are applied, which are usually simple principles. Wake up before everyone else, consult and read and learn, and chances are you're going to start advancing beyond everyone else. Like, if you want 2 simple principles of you're not successful in life, wake up earlier and seek knowledge. Like, you want to win in whatever industry you're in, study the people who succeeded, study their biographies and apply their methods, interview them, contact them, call them up. I don't know how to start a business, help me. And then wake up before your competition does. That's why you're going to get success, not because hexes and witchcraft. Right? So,
or you can do a lot of dhikr. That also works.
Doing a lot of dhikr and seeking blessings is going to really power you off, and it's going to cause like amazing things to happen on top of that, on top of your asbab. So when وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, it's also your intellect. Purify your intellect from shirk, and that's what we have to understand as shirk. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ibadah of Allah. There's no chance involved. It's not by luck, and this idolatry and witchcraft and all this superstition of these other faiths. People want to believe in something, but it's oham. There's no proof for any of that stuff, and Allah ta'ala never commands us to do anything without proof. His own existence, He says, look around. Find evidence. Why does Allah says, look around? Surah al-Mulk, look, then look again. Find any flaws to see proof of His existence. Look also means look at the seerah of the Prophet. Tell me that this is not an honest and truthful person. Look at the Quran for proof. And then once you know that Allah exists, then you could submit easily. Okay. So that's the tathir of the intellect from shirk, and purifying it with tawheed. Tathir of the heart from all of its diseases. Tathir of the body from sins, and tathir, purification of the garment from najasa. Actually, physically, purification from najasa. That's something that's not all allegorical. We physically purify our thiyab from najasa. Okay. What else you got, Ammar? فَاجْتَنِبُوا الرِّجْسَ مِنَ الْأَوْثَانِ وَالرِّجْسَ فَهْجُرْ. Many ayats of the way of paganism is a way of superstition, of believing in things that have absolutely no basis in intellect or observation. And that's when the atheists say, wait, hold on a second, you're saying Allah, well, the Aztecs had a god. How do I know all these gods? Everyone had a god. Yeah, but those gods, there is no basis for their existence in neither intellect nor observation. That's the big difference. They're not equal. Spaghetti monster, as one atheist group calls their god, right, to make fun of faith. But there is a big difference. One of them, we can go point by point why is completely rational, and the only rational conclusion is that this world had a living maker, right? We won't know his name except through prophethood. We won't know about the soul, the afterlife, what he wants from us. His other attributes only can come from prophethood. But intellect alone, clearly, this world is made. There's no way you could tell me that this camera and this light, you believe, came about through knowledge and will and power, right? Knowledge, will, power, and wisdom, too. Like, it has a function. It doesn't function underwater. It's supposed to function here. It has a clear function. It's not to satisfy your stomach. It has a clear function. And you have to put it in its place. That's wisdom. And then yet you don't believe that the eye, which is another lens, right, is a result of the very same qualities: knowledge, wisdom, will, power, right? Or a light bulb and the sun. So you can't possibly not recognize that analogy. If you do, we would say you're playing dumb, right? You're playing dumb. Okay, so someone who believes that a camera just came about after 1 million years and the parts assembled themselves, you need to be put in a mental hospital, right? Either you're playing dumb or you need to be put in a mental. If you truly believe that, you need to be put in a mental hospital. Otherwise, that belief just becomes symbolic for your tribe and your end result and your end goal, right? Like, I truly don't believe that anyone genuinely believes that a transgender woman is a woman. But they say that phrase because it symbolizes a tribe. In the same way, Abu Jahl was not a dummy. There's no way he believed these idols created the world. But it's a symbol for his tribe and his party and their motives. That became symbolic for that. And maybe some fools of the laymen, some ignorant people, they looked up to their leaders, saw the leaders bowing to the idol, and actually believed, right, that this is true. No person with a brain would actually believe that's true. So, and that's the basic sociology of paganism. When you look at ridiculous beliefs, and they were upheld by the societies, they were upheld by the leadership as a way to keep order, to maintain a narrative, to maintain a power structure, and that's all it was. Like, that's how it worked. Most of these beliefs today are the same: transgenderism, atheism, probably even it's more sophisticated, but even evolution to a degree, right? So if evolution took so many millions of years, why aren't there gray areas? Like, where's the gap between humans and apes? If they came from the same origin, why did they so crisply part ways, right? Where's the middle between the saber-toothed tiger and the regular tiger? Where's the middle between the platypus and the next animal up? Like, there's no middle. There's like rigid lines between the species. And there's not even proof of a middle. Like, what's the proof of a middle category? All the Neanderthal man stuff is made up. There's not real evidence. Okay, the skull was different, so?
I think they said that bears came from orca whales or something.
Bears what?
I was reading this book, like the one that I got yesterday, and it said, like, I was skimming it, but I think it said that they say that bears came from orca whales.
It's absurd. Completely absurd.
I just finished biology with Bio 1, and they said they were saying something about how everyone's going to turn to crabs in millions of years.
It's insane. Like, we're going to regress?
Yeah, something like that. It's like using those trophic levels, I don't know, something like that.
Well, tell me something. If we all, like, everyone evolved from everything, but those animals are stronger. We got weaker. The human being is physically the weakest, right? So why isn't it that we maintained the physical brute strength of the gorilla or the ape or whatever, or of the Neanderthal man, and developed our brain at the same time? That would say, okay, well, everything is better, right? So it is actually survival of the fittest, and the strongest are mating with the strongest. But why is it that one organ is getting better? The skin is weak. Our digestive system, extremely weak. Like, at what point did we have to suddenly cook our food? Like, why did the digestive system devolve to become weaker? Life would be a lot easier if I could pick up a squirrel and bite right in. Why are our teeth weaker? Why are our jaws weaker? Right?
Continues to get weaker, you know. Now it has to be gluten-free.
I know.
You can't.
And
probiotics, it has that.
Totally.
Whole, you know?
So your macro theory of survival of the fittest and things just getting stronger as they go along, it doesn't match actually everyday lived life. When I got kids who, if you blow on them, they cry. If you touch them, he gets an anxiety attack, right? I had a tenant the other day. He ignored me, right? I tried to sell the place. He refused to open the door for the agents. I was pissed. I sent him a letter from my lawyer just so the lawyer could be happy. I don't believe in those routes. My route, Romeo. I got to bring Romeo on the podcast someday. He's a bouncer, right? And I sent him on Cash App $50 on Cash App. And I said, here's the address. I need you there, right? And I said, just tell me what you're going to do. He said, nothing illegal, but don't ask any more questions, right? And he said, I've influenced people to pay rent in Newark, New Jersey, where these guys got guns and stuff, right? And so he says, I'm an influencer, right, of a different kind. That's like his brand. An influencer of a different, he said, I will get the job done for you. You will get what you're asking for. But he couldn't find them. Like, they were never home. So I was just fuming. Now, fast forward a month, what goes around comes around, right? And it's the beauty of when you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala support you. Contacts me, begging. The hot water doesn't work, right? I'm not picking up the phone. Text messages after text, emails. Please, the hot water doesn't work. I'm not answering, right? You didn't answer me in my time of need. I wanted to sell the place, right? You didn't answer me in my time of need. You're going to learn a lesson. They took cold showers for 1 month. 1 month. Yeah. And I answered him after the second week. Plus, I had been satisfied enough, right?
He learned the lesson.
Yeah, he learned his lesson. And when he called me, he said, I just had to take my brother to the hospital. Why? He had an anxiety attack. For what? Because he had to take the cold showers for 2 weeks. What the heck? Right? What in the world is this? Right? What kind of tough guy is this? So, and by the time the plumber comes and checks out the water heater, 2 weeks, and then orders it, and then installs it, another 2 weeks pass. So 1 month of cold showers, right? I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah saw that I was oppressed and I couldn't get my rights. Even through Romeo, I couldn't get my rights. Okay? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought them to their knees. And I thank Allah ta'ala for that, right? So, why is it that the individual species, supposedly, this macro theory, we're supposed to be evolving? Why are we devolving in certain ways? And evolving in, like, our brains, I think, in terms of what we're outputting in the world, technology, it's advancing, right? I mean, we're now soon going to have the whole world by Starlink is going to be on Wi-Fi. There's no such thing as, hey, what's the Wi-Fi password? That's going to be done with. There's no more, where's my charger? It's all going to be solar charged. It's amazing. Now, that's just the foundation. What are you going to do with that now? That's the foundation of the new world that we're going to be headed to, right? Where no one ever has to worry about powering up their phone or getting Wi-Fi. Then you get a currency, a cyber currency that everyone's going to have access to. You're going to have a whole new world and new opportunities. I don't always look at it negatively. Look at it positively, right? People in Africa now, where nowadays like majority of people in India and Africa do not have bank accounts, right? Well, with cyber currency or whatever you want to call it, what does they call it?
Mobile wallet.
Mobile wallets, right? He doesn't need any of that.
Mobile banking and whatnot. Yeah.
Mobile banking. He doesn't need any of this. He doesn't need to. Bring your driver's license. They don't have driver's license. They don't have IDs. They don't know when they were born.
It's all connected via telephone number. Like 40%.
That's all you need.
40% of the mobile payment market.
Yeah.
India, Africa, and these locations.
Yeah.
It's all via your telecom provider.
Yeah.
They've moved into that space.
That's what it is.
You have a phone number. You got a bank account.
That's everything. And now on top of that, when Musk totally revolutionizes the phone, where you are. As soon as you own this item, you are connected to Wi-Fi permanently. And you never have to charge it, right? It's solar charged. You're giving people opportunities who never had opportunities before, right?
I love when my phone is dead. It's a great excuse.
It's unfortunately,
you didn't answer my message.
we will not have excuses anymore. That's the problem. You know that kids are really miskin.
Wallahi,
Kids are miskin. I get my kids, every movement of my kids in school is on an app here. It's called Schoology. Okay? Yeah. Every movement. every movement. And not only that, I get daily text messages of every little thing that in the kindergarten, what they're doing, right? Oh, here, your son's eating a pizza. Oh, well, your son is taking a picture with his friends. Boom. And it's almost like I actually feel bad for they can't hide anything anymore.
There's no privacy.
Yeah, they can't hide anything anymore. If you get a 65, I know before you know, right? And in my day, you could actually screw up royally and make up for it, and no one will ever know.
It's working for me in college, though.
Yeah.
I still can hide it.
Yeah, you can hide it. Oh, from your parents. Yeah, because they deal with you as an adult, right?
I guess so, yeah.
There used to be something called, you got lower than a 70, your parent has to sign this. Ooh, that's scary. Okay, I'll go sign it myself, right?
That's how you.
Yeah.
Like before this one kid, Zach, in my bus, he was like the guy, like he knew how to.
Oh, he forged a signature.
He was like
The guy that didn't have the academic smarts, he's taught the street smarts.
You have to develop the street smarts, right?
But now you're not academically smart, you're just dumb. You can't be street smart now.
No, you can't be.
You're competing with this technology.
You're actually dumbing down the kids, right? Because they can't get out of a jam. There's no getting out of a jam. The spotlight's on you 24/7.
You speak to these, like, you see these 10-year-old kids.
No, they don't have any street smarts. So the other thing used to be progress reports. Oh, he talks too much in class. Boom. What did they do? Mail it to your house. So I can't get the mail first, right? I get home before my parents do. I get the mail every day. They not see one progress report, not one, right? And then they get, now you shouldn't get progress reports in high school. Like, that's sort of silly in my opinion. Talking in class, that stuff is middle school. But then they say, oh, your parents have to sign it. Okay, so big deal. I signed it, right? And put it there. There's no more in it. Kids are in trouble these days. Segment number 4 is over. Let's go to segment number 5. And before that, if you want to join, support the podcast at patreon.com/Safina Society and take our ArcView classes at arcview.org. Take plenty of classes, pre-record, everything is there. We're only going to take 10 questions because we got to go to Intro to Maliki Fiqh, and then I have an appointment at 4:30. Okay. At FA's, and I have to meet a sister there for lunch. But she's my relative. Right? She's my mahram, right? So if you all go past by Effie's, oh, Dr. Shadi having lunch with a sister. It's my mahram, okay? I'm allowed to. I have to say that out loud so that none of the... Yeah, so that nobody goes and says, oh, he's taking lunch with a sister. Yeah, it's my mahram. I'm allowed to. So, all right, here we go. Opinion on the Clear Quran by Mustafa Khattab. I heard good things about it, but I didn't read it.
I was actually reading, I was comparing Sheikh Nu's translation to like a bunch of different Quranic translations.
Yep.
I think it's the most similar to the Clear Quran. From like a very cursory analysis, it looks like the Clear Quran, and Sheikh Nu's translation is like the most similar.
Okay, good. That's good.
I think that means good things for the Clear Quran.
That's very good for them because I want to see how he translates the mutashabihat. Yeah, and I want to see in the Deen Indallah Islam. The religion in the sight of Allah is submission. Really? I didn't know there was a religion called submission. Is there such a religion? So what if I submit to? Submit generally, that's the religion of Allah. A religion needs to tell me what to believe and what to do. What's my reward? What's my threat? Like a contract. That's a religion. Did not Allah call the deen a mithaq? A contract, an oath. So what do I have to do? What do I not have to do? What do I get back? And if I screw up, what's my punishments? That's what's in a contract. So it's such a cop-out to please other religions that say, the religion in the sight of Allah is submission. Khadija Asif, can non-Muslim enter a masjid? If they do? Not in the Maliki school, but if the masjid serves as multiple purposes, then they can. So if the masjid becomes a community center, then they can. I got that from Sheikh Zuhair when I asked him why is it that the Maliki school does not allow a kafir in the masjid, because إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. So he said that, and that's the case in Morocco. You go knocking on a masjid, you can't go in, right? So it's because that's the Maliki ruling on that. They can't go into the masjid. And so, which is not a problem. You go to Egypt, they don't let hijabis in clubs. Go, right? So why are you so upset about that? So they're so upset. It's like, you don't have taqwa anyway. Why you don't pray? Why are you worried, right? Oh, this is, you're discriminating. Discriminating against what? Something you don't want, right? And in your clubs, get a niqabi and a bearded brother with an 18-year-old and older, 18 and older. Go to a club, see if anyone lets you in. They're not going to let you in to ruin the vibe, right? So they don't let you in. In Egypt, 5-star restaurants, where in the tourist areas of Egypt, like Sharm el-Sheikh, you have a beard and your wife has hijab, you're not going in, right? They will not let you in, okay? A beard like yours, like it's clean and crisp, it looks, you could pass, a CEO has that type of beard, right? Lawyers might have that type of beard in America, non-believers. Yet you go in, if you're a Muslim and you're brown and you're clearly a Muslim and you're having it for the purpose of Islam, they don't let you in. You're not even a woman in hijab. You're a man with a beard. They won't let you in. So, but if the masjid has multiple purposes, because he said the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ has multiple purposes, so they were let in on that ground. And for Khadija Asif's question, they don't have to make wudu. Their wudu is not valid, right? Their wudu is not valid. Wudu of the non-believer does not mean to make wudu. So in other madhabs or in the Maliki school, if the masjid is multiple purposes, then they can enter, yes. Maham says, I was stopped from going to live music lounge in Dubai. SubhanAllah. Well, they forbid the wrong for you, right? Alhamdulillah for that, right? I'm going to text these guys. Hey, listen, all these Muslims ruining the vibe. Don't let them in the concerts, right? That's probably the best way to get all the kids from stop going to concerts and clubs, right? Honestly, yeah. Right? Hey, listen, I'm a big user. I don't want to mention my name. I leave big tips at the bar, but I'm not coming if you keep letting the Muslims in, right?
I'm scared though, actually, by doing that, because they might just take the hijab off, honestly.
Oh man, that's a problem. That's a real problem.
Okay, yeah, not a problem.
Melody says, Melody says, I work for a Maryland Anderson Cancer Center, and I have to work with male patients. Since it's medical reason, is it allowed? I use gloves. It could be, Allahu Alam, but if it's something that's impossible for you to get out of, I talk to a lot of oncologists, not a lot, but a couple oncologists, and they just do it and try to avoid it as much as possible. So I haven't seen anyone ever say that you have to leave the profession because you may see a male patient or a female patient. Muhammad says, on a serious note, please make dua being afflicted by shaitan. May Allah remove this influence from my body. Ameen. And for everyone else who is like that. C.E. Mu'mina says, is it true I heard costuming mani is haram because it's najaza? What is costuming mani? Consuming many. Consuming many is not just, it's not semen, is not haram. It's not najis in the Shafi'i school. Why?
Because anything that leaves the human body is pure. Or
not just that, because...
So even urine is not?
Because, no, the many, only semen in the Shafi'i school. Why? They don't hold it najis because it's the essence of what the human is, and Allah says we have ennobled the human being, so he will not derive from najasa, right? But medhi, pre-seminal fluid, is najis in the Shafi'i school because that's not what you're made of, right? That's a lubricant, okay? The natural lubricants of male and female is najis, but the semen itself in the Maliki school, in the Shafi'i school, is not najis because that's what the human being is made of. So, and they have other evidences. But in the Hanafi and Maliki school, they consider it najis, and the proof is that the Prophet used to wash it off, right? If it was ever came on his garment, he'd wash it off. Before the Salah, they say we used to see that it was wet. And so, but consuming many, even if we took the Shafi'i, we would have to say that it is from the disgusting things and is not, and Allah limited food to what is pure, right? Allah says it's permissible for you to consume what is pure. And it's not a normal thing, and it may be a humiliation of a woman, right? It may be humiliating to a woman and it may be a culture that someone comes in with, that if it's a culture, that's one thing, but we would say that may be a urf, that's batil, mulgha, a custom. So if there's, let's say there's a custom, and this is getting a bit gross here, but for the sake of knowledge and discussing these matters, because Sharia has an answer to everything. Let's say a woman who is from that culture where they do that. Now she enters Islam and she wants to continue this practice, right? Then we would say about that, okay, it's Najasa rules, it's not najis, and that it's a custom that you should get out of your life soon. Because it's not something that's acceptable in Islam that you consume semen. Okay.
So then would you still get sin for it?
We would, well, the person who's converting into Islam, sometimes you give them a buffer of a period of time. And can we say it's sinful? Probably by ijtihad. There's a big difference between sinful by a ruling that's clear in the Quran and sinful by us trying to make a judgment. And on top of that, if they're a convert, and they would just give them a buffer of time, right? And they would have to follow the Shafi'i school on this, that it's pure. Okay. Nick Scott, how are we supposed to look at the punishment for Qawmi Lut? They get the punishment of zina. Okay. Is it supposed to be punished by death? If they do it in public and their penetration is witnessed in public by witnesses, then they get the punishment of the adulterer and the fornicator, right? The adulterers, the difference is that a fornicator is single, an adulterer is married. That's the difference. And the had punishment of the fornicator is lashes, and the had punishment for the adulterer is rajam, stoning. Okay, and the liberals say it's immoral. Not only is stoning, you may think it's immoral, it will end your life too. So the least you should, I'm getting stoned, this is immoral. You should worry about being immoral. You're going to die, right? You should worry about you're going to die. So don't go to an Islamic country and adulterate. I don't care what you think. You think I like stoning? You're not supposed to like it. It's punishment, right? Only in the West is the punishment supposed to be nice and fuzzy, right? That's why you don't know how to raise people. Your kids aren't raised. You guys grew up raised. You know when you see a kid in class talk about it to the teacher, man, that kid never got hit, right? That kid never got, that kid is not raised, right?
How is he alive?
Yeah, how are you? I would be dead if I got caught talking to the teacher like that, right? So no worries. Liberals, say whatever you want. Don't come to our country. By the way, no one stones anymore. No one's been stoned for 700 years, right? But don't come to our countries and break the laws. Simple. I don't need you to like it. So call it inhumane, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, whatsoever you want. All right? Don't go to Afghanistan. Okay? Whatever it is. Okay. How's that? So funny. One of these liberal said, I am never allowing, since the Taliban take over, for my daughter to ever go to Afghanistan. Really? There's that on your list? Disney World, California, Hawaii, Tora Bora. Really? Oh, too bad. You got to cross it out. Like the Afghanis don't want to go to Afghanistan. Right? Who ever wanted to? It's like, oh, be a poor baby. You can't go and take a vacation in Afghanistan anymore. By the way, they don't want you in your country. I don't want you in their country. I love them. Oh, Taliban, blah, blah, blah. Afghanis in general, I love them. Okay. And whatever they're doing.
There was a
I don't know what they're doing in detail, but in general, they're pious Muslims. I don't know what they're doing in detail. In general, I'm with general pious Muslims. You don't like it? Good. Click off the TV, the YouTube channel and go somewhere else. Yes.
They were actually authorized by even the Turkish Ulamat. They stamped it as this is.
I'm saying in general,
yeah.
They're pious, practicing Muslims. I don't have to agree with everything they do. I won't. I probably may not even want to live there, but they're still my Muslim brothers.
There was an Irish reporter that went to Afghanistan. She's speaking with the Afghani spokesman.
Yeah.
She was asking him about this specific. She's like, oh, when you went to the Netherlands, some of the Afghanis living in the Netherlands, they were not happy with the fact that the Netherlands was negotiating with Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
These guys are oppressors. They don't have human rights and all this nonsense. He's like, They're like, oh, we're Afghanis, and this is not what Afghanistan.
Yeah.
It's like, do you look at the way they dress?
Yeah.
Do they look like Afghanis to you?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, their dress is symbolic of the fact that they're not Afghani at all
true.
on the inside.
Tell me something. Name one country in the world where the government outright tells you we submit to Allah and that's what we're going for. I don't care if they get it right or wrong, to be honest with you. Like, I care about that. Yeah. But zoom out, will you? Just zoom out for a second. What other group of people, they will tell you that, right? And say it as a nation. We're all in on this. So you say, oh, they got it all wrong and you wouldn't want your daughter to live there. Fine. That doesn't have no problem. I probably would not live there myself. It's not my culture. But in the macro sphere of things, they are the only group of people who are telling you that we're with Allah and His Prophet. And we're going with the Hanafi madhab. That's our law. All right? Ahl Sunnah. So they have my respects. And you're liberal, don't want your daughter to go there. I don't want your daughter to go there, and I don't want you going there. Don't soil them and ruin these people. So anyone who brings me, oh, look at this video. They beat a woman. They oppressed a woman. I didn't say I agree with everything they're doing. Right? But they're in general, they get credit for their effort and their courage to say, we stand with God and His Prophet. C.E. Mu'mina says, I remember mentioning that you said oral contact is haram. No, that's not true. Oral contact when people are in intimacy, it's the medhi, the pre-seminal fluid, that is haram. That's what you have to avoid. Ingesting the male or female lubricant fluid, which is pre-seminal fluid. That is what you must avoid. But the oral by itself that's not haram. There's no prohibition on contacting any part of your spouse's body. It's just the pre-seminal fluid, that sexual lubricant, that is najis. So you cannot consume that intentionally. All right, we actually have to go, believe it or not. Okay. Slave King says, I'm Afghani. We've been in war for 50 years. Okay. No. Yeah, I mean, these liberals saying, I'm never going to Afghanistan. We don't want you to go, right? They don't want you either. You think they're losing out on anything? Right? I bet you your neighbors don't even like you. Okay? These liberals are just too much. They're just always whining about something. Okay, Lily Rose. Like I said, okay, the little girl's school got closed down. I don't agree with that, right? I would run things very differently, right? I would run things people would be very happy, right? If I ran that place. I would love one day to run a country. Just give me a city, right? Okay, just give me a city. No one's going to have the LinkedIn page that we have for our country. I'm going to hire the best architects, and I'm going to hire lashers, right?
The best lashers and the best architects.
It's going to be a beautiful city, and people who act up will pay the price. There's going to be law and order in this place. You will pay. Didn't the Prophet ﷺ said, keep your mouth clean? It's the place of the Quran. No, the oral matter has been discussed from the ancient times, and it is permitted. I'm from India. What is a maslak? I guess a maslak is a madhab, school of thought. Poetic nafs, I'm Afghani. We support our right for self-determination. We never don't want to see the West involved in our business. Maslak, but they call it a madhab there.
Maslak, I think in Urdu specifically, it might refer
Tariqa?
to... No, sorry. It refers to one specific matter.
Yeah.
Like a furu'i matter.
Oh, a far'i matter.
Yeah.
A question, a mas'ala.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think that's
Yeah.
probably...
Oh, Sophia's waiting for a question? Let's see. Dua of Musa. What is Sophia's question waiting for? Oh, the class is waiting. All right, let's go. Intro to Maliki Fiqh. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. We got to go. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.